One day, Jirai is doing his usual edgy teenager things when Tomoyo enters the literature club room and catches him in his usual shenanigans. However, she has gotten used to his behavior, so she just leaves him alone and sits on her chair calmly. Jirai gets upset that he isn't getting the attention that he was seeking by doing his cringe behavior, so he starts to do it again till Hatoko enters the room and finds him crying in pain while holding his left hand. Hatoko gets worried and is about to call an ambulance, but as a true American, Jirai knows that it's better to just die than pay $2,000 for just an ambulance, so he stops her and tells her that he is fine. However, his plan gets ruined, so he plans a better strategy for the next girl. That next girl is none other than the short-statured girl named Chifuyu, who looks like a loli and would put the FBI behind you if you try to do something. She is also a niece of one of their teachers who leaves the girl in their care. Chifuyu sees Jirai covered up in blood, so she panics and starts to cry. Jirai tries to apologize, but he ends up getting punished by the club leader, Sayumi. Afterward, Hatoko apologizes to Chifuyu as she starts to roast Jirai for being a high schooler who is still stuck in his 8th grade syndrome phase. Jirai is hurt by her words as he stands up and explains to everyone that he can see things that they cannot even comprehend, but Tomoyo cuts him off and tells him to drink his medicine for schizophrenia. Suddenly, Jirai's hand starts to glow as light covers up the whole room. The next thing we know is that it's been 6 months since that accident, and that all the club members have awakened supernatural powers out of nowhere. Today is their weekly power testing day as they all fight with each other to showcase their powers and not get rusty. The first battle is between the caring big sister Hatoko and the bratty little sister Chifuyu. Hatoko's supernatural power is to manipulate all elements, as she can manipulate earth, water, fire, wind, light, etc. On the other hand, Chifuyu's ability is creation. She can create anything and conjure it out of thin air. The space they are fighting right now is also created by Chifuyu's ability. Initially, they are both going calmly without any big attacks, but suddenly they get hyped as they both start charging up their strongest attacks. Sensing that Tomoyo uses her time manipulation ability to stop time and place both of them on their respective seats. After resuming time, they both get lectured by the group and asked to not get serious while sparring. Tomoyo also wants to have a go and present her skill, but Jirai stops her as she has already shown her ability when she separated Chifuyu and Hatoko. Tomoyo is a bit sad as she wants to show off her super cool powers, but it is what it is and she has to bear being outshined by the others. Next to perform is the club leader, Sayumi, whose power is to restore anything to its origin. Her extent of power is unknown, but her skill is very much useful in healing others. The last to perform is Jirai, but just when he is about to activate his power, an unknown person barges into their club room. Chifuyu quickly turns off her power and brings them to the real world. The unknown person is the student council president, Mayuri, who is here on a complaint to nearby clubs that the literature club room is always making loud noises which disturbs everyone around them. Jirai laughs and points at her as he informs her that he knows everything about her. This startles Mayuri as she asks him how he knows that she has unlocked supernatural abilities too. Jirai fumbles for a bit but recovers his poise as he confidently tells her that he knows everything. Mayuri is no less of a poser as she challenges them to a fight. Jirai accepts her challenge as he summons a small black fire in his hand. Mayuri smirks as she laughs aloud and steals his ability using her ability Steal. The fire in Jirai's hand disappears and transfers right into Mayuri's hand. However, she is disappointed to find out that his flame ability is useless and serves no purpose. The other girls challenge Mayuri, but she accepts her defeat because as long as they don't activate their powers, she won't be able to steal them, and winning a 4 versus 1 fight is out of the question. She also returns Jirai's ability and she informs them of how she found out about their abilities. She got a message from an unknown person who told her the truth, so she came knocking on their doors. And she also awakened her power at the same time as they unlocked it, which is still a mystery. Unknowingly to them, a mysterious person is watching them from outside and his intentions are still unknown. The following day, our edgy teenager is giving a presentation to the club as to why nicknames are cool, and that they all should have nicknames. Tomoyo tries to oppose this idea that it's too cringe, but after Chifuyu agrees to the nicknames, she has no choice but to accept the task and decide on a nickname for herself. The first one to present her nickname is the big sister Hatoko, whose nicknames are just different shades of colors. The next one is Sayumi, whose nicknames are pretty cute for the way that she acts. Jirai expected her nicknames to contain the word queen or majesty. Hearing Jirai call her cute makes Sayumi run away in embarrassment. Jirai is left there standing lost in his thoughts, thinking if he said something wrong. Tomoyo shakes her head as she can't believe how dense this dude is. Anyways, the next person to present her nickname is Chifuyu, who chooses a cute and funny name. Afterwards, it's finally time for Tomoyo, whose nickname is the best out of all of them. Jirai makes her the winner as Sayumi also comes back and joins them in clapping for her. Their screams cause Mayuri to barge in and ask them to shut the hell up. However, this is not her real purpose for coming in here today. Instead, she is here to answer Jirai's love letter that she received in her locker room today. She accepts his confession and starts dating him without even asking him what's going on before. All the other girls look at him with shocked expressions as he tries to explain to them that he just sent her a letter with her nickname written in it. He wanted to name her Robber, but that's too crude, so he wrote Lover instead. So this is how the misconception was created. However, Mayuri doesn't listen to him and starts to act like his girlfriend. For the next few days, she is completely in love with Jirai and even shows her love to him in various forms. But Jirai knows that it's all a misconception, so one day, he tells her the truth, which breaks her heart as she starts to cry, but she holds herself back and runs away, assuring Jirai that it's not his fault. Jirai stands there in silence as he feels bad for hurting a sweet girl like Mayuri, but Tomoyo consoles him and assures him that it's not his fault, and that he tried his best. One day, he gets summoned by his teacher, Miss Satomi, who berates him for using difficult and edgy words in his test just to sound cool. But she can't legally do anything to him as he scored 92 out of 100, so it's fine in the end. She puts back her eye mask and falls asleep when another student enters the room and is surprised to find Jirai here. He is Shizumu, a nerd weeb like you guys who has no interest in real girls. They both start to insult each other for being delusional in different ways till Miss Satomi eventually gets tired of their bullshit and kicks them out of her office. They both sit outside on the stairs as they talk random bullshit about each other when Shizumu leaves and Sayumi comes out from her hiding and scares Jirai, who didn't know she was listening to him. She assures him that she was not creating BL scenes in her mind about them, which creeps out Jirai as he asks her to stop. Later, the literature club is having friendly tennis matches with each other when Hatoko nearly burns poor Jirai with her flame-infused tennis ball. Fortunately, Sayumi heals Jirai on time, thus saving his precious hair. There, Jirai takes out his black Bible to write about his nickname that he just thought of. After writing his cool nickname, they decide to head to karaoke. On their way to karaoke, Jirai realizes that he has lost his black Bible, so he leaves them behind to go look for it. Behind his back, the girls talk about his delusional thoughts, but they smile when they realize how he cares about them even when he is this delusional. For example, he analyzed all of their powers and gave them cool nicknames. He also set parameters for their powers so they wouldn't misuse it and regret it later. Meanwhile, Jirai doesn't know that the girls are talking well behind his back as he is too worried about his black Bible. He heads back to the literature club room, where he finds that same mysterious man we saw a while ago. He is Hajime, former alumni of this club. Jirai and Hajime hit off together quite well because he is him, as he is also delusional with 8th grade syndrome. Hajime gives back the black Bible to Jirai as they both head out to get food together. There he learns a lot about Hajime, as he is also dubious about this world. He thinks that both of them are too base to be delusional, and that it's the world that is jealous of them. Jirai completely agrees with him. They both continue to talk about their delusional theories when Tomoyo finds them and is surprised to see Hajime here. It turns out that he is her big brother who has a different mother but the same father. After Hajime leaves, Jirai learns from Tomoyo how Hajime was used to being a fine son and an upright student till one day he suddenly becomes weird and leaves home. The nickname Endless Paradox that she utilizes right now was also given to her by her big brother. The following day, Jirai is on his way to the school when he notices Chifuyu standing outside the school gate. She informs Jirai that she is dropping out of elementary school. The following day, Jirai drops Chifuyu at her school where he meets Chifuyu's best friend, Kuki. Although her name is Cookie, she is as spicy as a Carolina Reaper. For legal reasons, it's a joke, but goddamn, she doesn't exist in the real world, and if she did I would be in jail. Aside from the PDF file jokes, Kuki is surprisingly a sweet girl who cares for Chifuyu. But she hates Jirai as she doesn't want Chifuyu to spend time with other people but her. Jirai doesn't mind their little activities as there is nothing better than watching two cute girls doing gay things. Later, Chifuyu returns from school and drops by at Literature Club where Jirai gets an idea to use Chifuyu's creation abilities to do cosplay. He brings out a cardboard box and asks everyone to put their suggestions in it. The first one to try is Jirai, who gets a maid costume. With the maid outfit, he becomes the cutest Pookie out there. After that, all the girls get different things as they all laugh and have fun together till eventually someone knocks on the door, so in panic they end up dropping some stuff here and there. The commotion leads them to Miss Satomi's office, who berates them but then shifts the topic to Chifuyu, who left school early by making an excuse that her stomach was aching. Chifuyu puts her head down and doesn't say anything, so Satomi forgives her and drops the matter. Later, Jirai is chilling at home in his underwear when Chifuyu teleports to his house and informs him that she got into a fight with Kuki. She doesn't explain anything to him as she teleports him to her house where Kuki is currently at. Kuki opens the door and finds a naked Jirai outside, which leaves her with even more questions. Fortunately, Chifuyu comes in, but things don't get better as Kuki gets mad at Chifuyu for spending so much time with Jirai and the others, and she doesn't even tell him the reason. Chifuyu can't say anything as she promised Jirai and others to keep their powers a secret, so Kuki leaves the house while crying. Jirai can't let Chifuyu destroy her friendship, so he decides a plan to make both of them friends again. He visits Kuki and tells her the truth as to why Chifuyu spends so much time with them and why she cannot tell him the truth. He informs her that he is a lolicon who likes little girls between the ages of 7 and 12. According to him, anything below 12 is breakfast and he loves breakfast. And that puts Kuki on his favorite age list too, which frightens her, but she laughs as she expected the secret to be something big, not childish like this. Chifuyu also comes to the location and makes up with Kuki as they both hug each other and cry in each other's arms. Chifuyu also gives Kuki a similar looking stuffed toy, so they both match now. With the addition of a stuffed toy, Kuki's charm increases even more. One day, Jirai enters the club room with his cool looking guitar and he flexes it in front of everyone. The flex doesn't end there as he brags about the cool nickname for it, which is Maria in short. He is flexing it when suddenly Chifuyu shows up out of nowhere and notices the guitar. She asks Jirai to give it to her, but he denies, so she tricks him into closing his eyes and creating a fake replica of the guitar. She then challenges him to choose the correct guitar, and if he fails, she will destroy the one he leaves on the ground, whether it's fake or real. Jirai tries to become over smart and ends up destroying both guitars, thinking that they are fake and that Chifuyu has hidden the real one somewhere else. But it turns out that he was just overthinking and the guitar on the left was real, which leaves poor Jirai on his knees crying in front of his broken guitar. Although Sayumi can restore the guitar to its original state, seeing him cry is too much fun, so she lets him suffer for some more. After school, Jirai is on his way home with Hatoko when he remembers that he has forgotten his bag back in the club, so he heads out to grab it, leaving Hatoko behind. In the club, he walks onto Tomoyo acting like a protagonist from an anime, which leaves him laughing at her for being a hypocrite. She bullies him for acting delusional, yet she is the same as him. Poor Tomoyo tries to hide her shame, but Jirai keeps on ridiculing her. Soon she recovers as Jirai isn't any better than her, so they both laugh together. However, the matter gets worse for Tomoyo as she accidentally leaves her laptop open for Jirai to see what she is doing. She quickly closes it off, but Jirai has already seen that she was writing a light novel. However, this time he doesn't make fun of her and even encourages her. Tomoyo tells Jirai that she participated in the light novel competition but didn't even pass the first round. But after getting encouragement from Jirai, she gets cheery and promises that she will pass the first round this time. One day, Jirai notices Tomoyo staring at her phone and suddenly getting excited after seeing something, so he asks her what's going on. She spills the beans that she passed the first round this time, so that's why she is so happy. Jirai is happy for her too, so he wants to treat her and asks if she wants to eat anything. Tomoyo wants to try a famous cafe, so they decide on Seri. On the day of the date, Tomoyo is all dressed up in casual clothes and is waiting for Jirai when he arrives too. And surprisingly, he is dressed in normal clothes. They go out and eat stuff as well as stroll around and visit different shops. After enjoying the date, Tomoyo wants to invite him again, but her voice is cut off by the sound of bell ringing, so she stops and drops the matter. They are heading home when they are spotted by Hatoko, who also happens to be there at that time. She seems a bit heartbroken after seeing Tomoyo and Jirai together. One day, Jirai is playing a game given to him by the club members, and at the end of the game, he finds a happy birthday message as everyone pops the birthday poppers and celebrates his birthday. Jirai feels like crying as no one has ever been so kind towards him. The following day, he finds out from the girls that Sayumi is sick, so on behalf of all the girls, he heads to her room and well wishes her good luck for a healthy recovery. Sayumi opens the door and invites him in as they both sit in front of each other in silence. Their silence is disrupted by Sayumi's little sister, Maya, who teases Sayumi for bringing back a man to their home all alone. She wants to show Sayumi's middle school yearbook to Jirai, but Sayumi kicks her out, thus she leaves the book to Jirai to look into. The book contains Sayumi's pictures from her middle school, in which she still looked pretty mature even though she was young at that time. Sayumi mentions that her grandmother wanted her to become a proper woman, so she worked hard for that. While going through the book, Jirai notices that Sayumi was the president of the student council, and asks her why did she not opt to become the president in high school too. Hearing this, Sayumi suddenly informs Jirai that she is feeling drowsy from the medicine she took, so she asks him to leave kindly. The next day, Jirai finds that Sayumi is still absent and starts to wonder if he said something bad to her. He calls Sayumi's little sister and asks if he said something wrong when he talked about the president's stuff. Maya mentions that Sayumi told her that she would become student council president in high school too, but the reason for her not becoming president later on is still unknown. So to learn the information, Jirai asks Mayuri, who informs him that the elections were being held at the same time when they got powers, which makes Jirai remember the time when they had just gotten their powers and understood them, and after that Sayumi wanted to use her power to return them to the state when they didn't have any power. But Jirai stopped her thus, which made her unable to focus on the elections. He is saddened to realize this, so he heads to Sayumi's house to apologize to her, but she tells him that she is not angry at him and that she was indeed sick when she asked him to leave. The reason she didn't become the president of the student council was that she was just too tired and didn't want to ruin her friendships with other people just to become a perfect woman. Jirai appreciates her and assures her that even if she isn't the perfect woman, she is still herself and the person he likes. Sayumi thanks him as her grandmother also spoke the words he just said and she never expected him to say it. However, she doesn't tell him that her words hold heavy meaning, implying that she is in love with him. In the flashback, young Hatoko is crying her hiding beside the stairs when young Jirai discovers her and asks her why she is hiding all alone here. The young Hatoko informs him that she accidentally pressed the emergency alarm and now she is afraid to face the consequences. The young Jirai helps her stand up as he brings her out to help her in apologizing to the teachers so they will forgive her. Later, Jirai and Hatoko are on their way to school when he informs her that his sister has invited her over for a meal. Hatoko is excited to hear this as it's been a long time since she has gone to Jirai's home. In the club room, Sayumi asks everyone to submit their fan novel suggestions as all of them give their ideas one by one. Tomoyo apologizes to Sayumi as she informs her that she couldn't think of any idea. Sayumi doesn't mind as it's just a club activity. Later, Hatoko is about to leave with Jirai when he asks her to head to his home on her own by making the excuse that he needs to talk with Tomoyo alone. Hatoko understands and leaves, but his words that she won't understand their conversation are a bit hurtful. Tomoyo and Jirai talk about Tomoyo's current struggle in writing the light novel that she has been working on for some time now. She is stuck and isn't able to get past this hurdle, which is upsetting her a little bit. Jirai motivates her and heads home. After arriving at his home, Jirai finds Hatoko preparing food for them when he suddenly receives the file from Tomoyo. He smiles as he talks with Tomoyo, which upsets Hatoko as she asks him what he is talking about. He once again tells her that she wouldn't understand it, which flips the switch inside Hatoko's head as she goes full crazy on roasting the hell out of this edgy ducker who thinks he is cool for writing his name in English instead of Japanese. The words he uses don't make any sense in real life, which makes her even more confused. She starts crying as she begs him to talk in a language that she can understand and runs away while yelling at him. It takes a few moments for Jirai to process all that hate speech as he runs after her, but she has already run off to nowhere all of a sudden. In desperation, he calls out Tomoyo, who brings Sayumi with her as they find Jirai all bruised up from falling while chasing after Hatoko. Sayumi heals him as she tells him that she has no option but to awaken her new ability, which will help them find Hatoko. On the other side, Hatoko is knocked unconscious by Hajime, who is accompanied by his whole gang of emo-looking kids. However, despite Hajime's declaration of not wanting to fight, Hitomi and the others don't want to retreat, so instead they take the matter into their hand as they head out to fight the enemy base on their own. Before Hitomi leaves, Reedier calls Hajime and informs him of the situation in case anything drastic happens. Later, Hitomi and the others successfully manage to beat the enemies at the F base and are prepared to head inside the room where that monstrous being is stored, whose power rivals that of gods. However, they don't believe it and head in, but after facing that being they freeze in fear and leave their fate to the unknown. Fortunately, Hajime comes to their rescue and stops that unknown being, who later turns out to be just another cute girl who joins his team after getting some candies from him. However, Hitomi knows that it wasn't as easy as he said because Hajime is injured and a massive wound can be seen on his ribs. Later, Hajime learns from Reedier about a group of students who have awakened their powers, so Hajime heads to their school to check them out. He doesn't want to involve young kids in such a brutal world, so he first wants to scout them out. It was that day when he met Jirai in the club room. Back in the present time, Hajime finds out that the girl they kidnapped is not the one they wanted. The person they wanted to kidnap was Sayumi, whose power can heal their team members and can be a valuable asset. His team members want to return her, but Hajime stops them as he knows that someone will save her soon by awakening a miraculous ability. That's what exactly happens as Sayumi awakens her second phase of her restoration ability, which allows her to transport Hatoko's body back to the club room. Hatoko wakes up and apologizes to Jirai for lashing out at him in this way. Jirai stops her and apologizes too, as it was his fault too. Tomoyo also announces her light novel passion as everyone encourages her to do her best. All the matters get resolved as all the group members return to normal. On top of that, Jirai happens to awaken his second phase of powers too, as his dark flame becomes something like a gauntlet. One day, Jirai and the other members of the literature club are studying for final exams when they bring up the topics of their grades. Tomoyo gets upset after finding out that she has the lowest grade out of all of them and decides to study hard to beat him in the upcoming final exams. Later, Hatoko invites Tomoyo to study with her, and they head to a cafeteria to study and have some food. There she also talks about how Tomoyo is the only person out of them who understands Jirai the best. She is envious of Tomoyo and gets up to order some food. Tomoyo feels that Hatoko is acting weird, but she can't confirm the reason. After the final exams, Tomoyo still ends up losing to Jirai in terms of grades and vows to beat him next time. Later, Jirai is helping Chifuyu with something when she asks him to go to the pool with her when the summer vacation starts. Jirai promises her as they hold each other's pinky fingers. However, this makes Chifuyu feel weird in her heart and she runs away. Later, Chifuyu learns from Kuki that she is not just sick, but she is lovesick. The same thing is happening with Sayumi too, as she is confronted by Shizumu, who tells her that she is madly in love with Jirai and offers her a pact to make her the main girl of the show and also the heroine. On the other hand, Hatoko also confesses her feelings for Jirai in front of Tomoyo, as she is the only one who understands Jirai the most. She tells Tomoyo that she will become the chosen one for Jirai and win him over. The summer vacation starts, and as per his promise, Jirai heads to the pool with Chifuyu, who is also accompanied by her friend Kuki. Kuki is jealous of seeing Jirai act so close to Chifuyu, so she cooks up a plan to make him unbearable in the eyes of Chifuyu. Her first plan is to make him look like a loser, but she fails. The second one is to make him look poor, but that fails too, and the last one is to make him look stupid, as she enrolls them in a quiz competition, but Jirai ends up winning it anyways. Not only that, he also manages to rizz her up as she starts to find him attractive too. After having fun for some time, Chifuyu is tired, so she falls asleep with her newly won whale plushie. On the other hand, Jirai asks Kuki to take care of Chifuyu as they grow up and go on their separate paths. Kuki promises to him that she will always be her friend and take care of her. One day, Jirai is checking out manga and light novels in a bookstore when he receives a call from Sayumi, who asks him to come immediately to the bus stop and meet her. After a while, Jirai arrives in front of her all tired, as he was running the whole way. Sayumi doesn't say anything as she just takes him with her to the water park, where Shizumu has prepared something to make Jirai fall in love with Sayumi. Sayumi wears the swimsuit that Shizumu chose for her as she heads inside the water park to meet up with Jirai, who compliments her nonchalantly. They are about to dive straight into the pool when Shizumu reminds Sayumi that her swimsuit is made up of special fabric that turns see-through when wet. Sayumi wants to punch him, but she stops, as throughout the whole day, she tries to avoid water. In the end, she is still accidentally splashed by some water, but it turns out that Shizumu was lying and that the swimsuit was just a normal one. Sayumi is so angry that she punches him in the face and reminds him that from now on she will only do things that she wants to do and not follow him or anything. After Sayumi leaves, Shizumu receives a call from an unknown number which leaks his identity belonging to that of the F-base. Jirai notices that Sayumi has returned to her normal self, and he compliments her that he likes her this way. Sayumi blushes as she tells him that she also likes him the way he is. But Jirai is too dense and stupid, so he will never understand that she loves him. Later, Jirai is at his home when he receives a call from Tomoyo, who wants to ask him if he's free, as she wants to go to the water park with him. But sadly, Jirai is heading on a vacation with his family and Hatoko, which saddens her as she wanted to go with him. The following day, Jirai heads to the beach with his sister and Hatoko, who tries her best to act like those popular girls from magazines but fails miserably. Later at night, she tries to propose to Jirai but stops. Instead, she informs him that she has been mean to Tomoyo and feels bad for that. However, Jirai consoles her and tells her that it's okay, everyone is human and they make mistakes. Hatoko also talks to him about her fear of getting left behind, but Jirai assures her that she is special to him and that he will always be with her no matter what. Later, he calls Tomoyo and invites her to the summer festival as they both arrive wearing yukatas. After enjoying the festival, they both head to a quiet place where no one will disturb them. Tomoyo starts to get nervous as she expects him to confess or something, but apparently he wants to talk about her fight with Hatoko, but she assures him that it's just girl stuff and that he shouldn't get worried. After that, she also tells him about her failing the light novel competition. Jirai assures her that she did her best and she should hold her head high. Afterward, they enjoy the fireworks together as Tomoyo is reminded of all of her memories together with Jirai as she smiles in joy. While this is all happening, Mayuri gets kidnapped by an unknown woman. Later in the club room, everyone receives an unknown email that asks them to come to the room. After arriving at the room, Mayuri enters the room yelling that her hand is burning. So to help her, Hatoko creates a water bubble, but Mayuri ends up stealing her power instead. With Hatoko's powers, Mayuri attacks them, but fortunately, Jirai had already anticipated something like this to happen, so he devised a plan for Tomoyo to transport them to somewhere else using her time stop ability. Afterward, they head to a karaoke place where they discuss how to solve this predicament. Jirai plans to use his second phase ability as it's the only way to solve this issue, but the girls get afraid lest it doesn't end well, but after being insisted they agree as they plan the whole thing. Jirai calls Mayuri, or rather the person who has possessed her body. That person is a woman named Nea who also happens to be a partner with Shizumu. Jirai tells Nea to meet him after 1 hour in the school club room. After 1 hour, they both stand in front of each other face to face, as Jirai summons his power and awakens its second phase. Nea at first laughs because she knows that his ability is useless, but after feeling the heat from the flame she realizes that this thing is dangerous, so she steals his power as the flame appears in her hands too. But unlike before, Jirai still hasn't lost his powers as they continue to burn. But also the flame is a special flame that can't be turned off or extinguished no matter what. The only way to stop is to cut that limb off, so that's why the girls were so afraid to let Jirai use that ability. Jirai warns Nea to leave possession of Mayuri's body or she will end up burning too with him. Nea fears for her life as she leaves the possession of her body and Mayuri comes back to normal. He then orders the girls to create a guillotine and cut both of their hands, and afterward, Sayumi uses her ability to heal them back to normal. Nea also returns to her body in front of Shizumu, who signals towards Hajime, who is standing behind them. He sends Nea somewhere else using his ability, and making her forget anything, as he also warns Shizumu to stay away from our edgy protagonist so that he can grow up to become a rival worthy of himself. The literature club members also resume their normal lives, which can't be normal anymore as they have to stay cautious of everything. They are still determining when the enemy will attack them again. As for who will win the Great War of Supernatural Powers, that's for the future video. Till then, keep watching our recaps. That's all for today. We hope you enjoyed our video. Give us a like and subscribe to our channel for more fantastic and steamy content.